you can see, once again, I have two, not just one, I have two special guests with me here today. I have Mr. John Wise with me and Miss Connie Wise. So
don't they both look so good right now?
So now, before I get any further, I'll allow them to introduce themselves to all of you. Would you like?
Okay, well, I'm Amishi's tennis coach at Abington Heights, and I have been in tennis for quite a long time. In the 70s and 80s, I was a tennis pro for about 12 years, and then I went into IT, and then when I retired, I had the invitation from Kelly Arp to see if she wanted to, if I could be her assistant coach for the tennis team, and I was happy to do that. My wife sort of gave Kelly the nudge and said, "Hey, my husband might be available, you know?" And so I've enjoyed doing that the last 9 years, so it's been a lot of fun coaching the girls.
I think you're a great coach.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
And I'm Connie Weiss, and when I met John, he was working at a tennis club.
Oh.
So before we were married, he gave me tennis lessons. That's how I learned to play tennis from him. So I can attribute my good backhand to him because he has a good backhand.
So have you been playing for a while too?
Yes, since the 70s. So.
Oh, okay, so it's been a long time for both of you.
Well, actually, our first date was on a tennis court,
Oh.
and the wind was blowing like 30 miles an hour. It was the craziest time, and we had just met the night before. Again, we knew each other sort of vaguely. No, we knew each other from church.
Yeah.
From church.
Oh.
But we hadn't seen each other in quite a while. And I said, "Hey, let's go out." She said, "Well, I can't do anything tonight." But I said, "Well, how about playing tennis tomorrow?" So that was our first date, was playing tennis.
Oh, that's so
And then
cute.
dinner at Pizza Hut.
Oh.
That is just the best. Tennis and then Pizza Hut. Oh,
You
good
could ask for
combination.
anything more than that, right?
It's a good combination.
Yeah.
So since both of you have been in tennis for quite some time now, I'm sure you've seen the game earlier on and now. So how has it evolved? How would you say it's changed?
We used to play with wood rackets that you had to put into a press to keep them from warping.
Oh, wood
Oh,
racket?
A press.
Every time when you were done, you put the racket in this little press and tighten up the screws to keep it from warping.
Well, luckily we don't have wooden
Yeah.
rackets in this world.
They're a lot lighter now. They were pretty heavy then.
And the frames today are a lot more powerful than they were in those days. The wooden frames weren't that powerful, so they hit the ball, or players hit the ball a lot harder now than they did.
I would.
And I think one of the big differences is the two-handed backhand became very important, I think. I can't remember when it started, but when I played, everybody played with a one-handed backhand. There was nobody hit with a two-handed backhand when I first started playing, and for many years, that was the only way anybody played,
I wish
Wow.
I wish I could know how to hit with a wooden racket.
Well,
Probably really heavy.
It would be probably
somebody wanted
really
to have
challenging.
a wooden racket tournament at the club. I don't know if we'd ever find enough rackets to do that.
To make
No,
Maybe you'll have that.
probably not.
Maybe you'll have that opportunity,
Maybe.
But I would say, the game's gotten a lot more powerful, and with the change in the equipment, and also,
What
I
happened
think the
with-
two-handed backhand is a lot stronger than most people's one-handed backhands.
Did the-
There's still some, a lot of good players that have,
Were the
one-handed
tennis
backhands.
balls different?
What's that?
Were the tennis balls different or not?
They were white.
They were white. Oh,
They were
so the
white.
colors changes too.
Yeah.
No.
And
Oh.
I don't know if they do it at Wimbledon anymore. They used to have just white tennis balls at Wimbledon. I think they still do that, but I don't know.
Oh.
But then eventually they became the yellow color that we have now.
Oh.
But,
And I'd say for women, the clothes have changed. When I first started playing tennis, people wore tennis dresses all the time. Dresses. Then they went to skirts, and now there's a big.
Wearing anything.
Yeah, anything now.
Anything.
But that has the fashion change. And I will say that I think the women now work out more than they used to. I don't think fitness, as far as lifting weights and that type of thing, was that popular in the 70s for tennis. So I think that people are more fit now and more conscious of what they eat.
Oh, just to keep the tennis body going.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot different. I think people think more in a lot of sports, but certainly in tennis.
So, you've been coaching for 9 years now.
Yeah.
So how would you say the team has changed? Have you seen anything new, anything different? How has it improved? Or what aspects have you seen major changes in?
That's a good question.
And I'm not sure I have a good answer. Because, I mean, every year you have different people to work with, and they all have their own strengths and weaknesses. And I would say that, I mean, we've been a pretty strong team for a number of years. You know, when we had like Bella Peters on our team, she was really a very strong player, you know, playing in college now. You know, she was like a really strong number one player for us. But I don't know if there's, I don't know, I can't say there's been that much of a difference. You know, like I said, we've been a pretty strong team and had a, you know, pretty good interest among the girls. And
What do you think about this team this year?
no, I think it's been an interesting year because we have you and Sammy as freshmen. It's been unusual in the past to have freshmen come in and do so well, and particularly the two of you who really didn't have a lot of background, you didn't have a lot of experience playing, but you've really done a great job. So it's really, it's been a little different. You know, usually from year to year, you know, the players that had the experience and got to play the year before are the ones that, you know, moved up and took the available positions. And this year, you and Sammy moved into those positions that I would have thought, you know, normally the more experienced players would have, you know, taken over.
Oh, if I were you, I'd take that as a compliment.
I think it's meant as a compliment,
Yeah,
yes.
So that's your perspective, but what about someone who's not really who's not coaching the team? Have you noticed any major differences, changes?
What I've noticed is I think the parents have become more supportive of the team. I think Coach Arp has really encouraged a lot of parent participation, and she's done a lot of, Coach Arp has done a lot of things to get the team to come closer together. I think in the past they were just focused on just playing.
And winning.
Right, and winning.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, she's having a pasta dinner on Monday night. The team has gone to Altoona. They didn't used to ever go to that tournament in Altoona before. And I'm having the.
Oh, we did go there for a number of years.
No, I meant before Kelly took over. I don't know that they went before Kelly took
Oh,
over.
no, we were there for about
Oh,
4 or 5 years
Oh, okay.
in Altoona before.
I didn't realize that.
Oh.
See,
Oh, you were there.
No, I meant before Kelly took over. I didn't think they went.
Oh, I don't know if that's
No.
true or not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's possibly.
Oh, so
I don't know if there was a relationship previous or not, but, you know, we had gone there for a number of years, and then with COVID, everything sort of shut down, and we didn't.
Yes,
And
COVID.
they there were some changes in Altoona too with the courts. They used to have courts at the school. They had 5 courts at the school. They had a really nice setup at the school. But they needed the courts for the school.
That would make sense.
So they took, they got rid of their tennis courts, and so now they're playing in that park that we played in.
Oh.
But they used to have 8 teams that came on a weekend, and it was really pretty crazy because they were like at 4 different sites, and we used to travel around as the coaches. We used to travel around from site to site, bring the players lunch. We'd be,
You'd be all over the place.
be all over the place. We get to see a little bit of this match, and then we'd be moving on to the next place. So it was a lot nicer to have it all sort of centralized, so we could watch everybody play.
So you would say like Coach Sharp has brought the team a lot more together in these last 9 years?
Well, I think it's true. I don't really wasn't that familiar with the team before she took over, but from what players have told us, I think that she's done a very nice job bringing the team together. I mean, I think this year's team is probably one of the closest teams that we've had. It seems to me like, the older players are very, interested in the younger players, and I don't notice a big grade difference. The grade difference doesn't seem to matter to a lot of the players. They're just happy to have other people to play tennis with and enjoy the team experience with. I mean, in the past, there's been, sometimes we've had like 10 players from the same class, and they just hung out together among themselves, and we didn't have I didn't think the camaraderie that we have nowadays. I thought this team is probably one of the closest teams we've had. I don't know how you feel.
I was
No,
gonna say,
I
how do you-
definitely think so. Like, they're definitely a lot more with together.
I was gonna say, how do you feel as a freshman being on a team, with a lot of upperclassmen?
Well, I mean, it's really nice because they're always there helping me, and they're never like, "Oh, you're a freshman, just go do whatever." It's like they're always with me if I need something. So I thought that was really sweet and kind of them to always just be there in case if I ever need or make mistakes. They're there to like help correct me. I feel like this interview is turning the other way right now.
I have one more question for you.
Oh, of
So-
course, go ahead.
So, and in your classes and when you're traveling around the halls in high school, do you feel better because you're on a team? Was it easier for you to assimilate into the high school because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
on a team?
Definitely, yeah. I would see like the girls on the team and school. We would just like talk for a little bit in the hallway, say hi to each other, and I didn't feel so alone in a big building.
You know, I feel like this in for you is basically you two asking her questions, not you. She's asking you two questions.
Yeah, no, but it felt like I had 16 friends going in on the first day of school rather than none.
Yeah.
So it really did help me a lot.
That's not the way how it works in my school. If you're fourth graders, you hang out with the fourth graders. If you're second graders, you hang out with the second graders. You don't be like, if you're the second grader, you don't hang out with like the first graders. You hang out with the second graders.
Hey, that's just how it is sometimes.
Well, I think in school it's a different situation because
Oh, yeah.
you take your classes, you do most everything with the people in your own class,
That's true.
you know? Whereas in the tennis team, you're stuck with all those other people, right? But you know, I think it's worked out really well. I think everybody
Definitely.
seems to be taking an interest in one another, and then I think it's been a very good experience, as far as I can tell.
Anyway, so it's like these past 4 months, I'm sure you both know that we've been practicing so much that there's barely any time to breathe at this point. It's like we're there, school, okay, right after school we're going to practice, let's play 2 hours of tennis, and then we're going home, we're all out of breath, and it's just tennis, 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 tennis. And then I noticed that whenever some of our players, or not even ours, like other schools, or even if you go up into the majors, once they win, they normally have the media coming to them or the news reporters coming over to them. And sometimes lots of people, they just go blank. They're not too sure what to say. Like even for me, when we played that one match and the news reporter came up to me, I was kind of confused on what I'm supposed to do in this situation. Like what am I supposed to say? I just like sort of winged it, but there's no further preparation. Even in the majors, I'm sure you've seen in multiple majors that someone wins, they're brought up to the mic and they don't know what to say for a solid like 30 seconds, a minute, and they just stand there. So what I was thinking is that I'm sure you know a little bit about non-academic, and in non-academic we have many projects which have many themes as well. So I was thinking about incorporating some sort of sports media theme into it, so that it's like whenever players win, athletes win, they know how to confront to the media, what to say to the media, how to do it, like how to just like be yourself around news reporters, media, not get all intimidated by the cameras and the lights and the notebooks and the mics and all of that. So I just wanted to know your thoughts. Would you think this would work out, or is it not a good idea? Like, what's your thoughts on it?
I think that's a good idea because if somebody comes up to me and says, interview now, I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to say? I just come up with something random and say, like, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what to say.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, because they'll be asking me questions about the match, and there's really, in some ways, there's no way to prepare for that particularly. I mean, I assume they'll have questions related to what has just happened, and I don't know if there's a way to prepare for that. I'm not sure. If there's a way for you to become more comfortable in that particular situation. I don't know, what threw you off with the questions they asked you?
See, I got you now. See, we just asked you a question. So imagine this is like an interview and somebody comes up to you and says, interview. You don't know what to say. It's like,
Well, I don't know exactly what to say either in terms of how to prepare for that. Because I feel like, I mean, you don't know what the questions are that are going to come at you, and that always is a difficult situation. Like you're just asking me this question, and I'm not exactly sure what to tell you.
I I definitely do agree, but I was thinking more sort of like on the aspect that when you go into a match, you don't know what the player's like, if they're doing a lot of volleys, if they go up to the net a lot. So you do everything to prepare for that match. You practice your forehands, you practice your serve, you practice your backhand, you practice all of that, and you get comfortable with the court, you get comfortable with your racket, you get comfortable with the balls. So what I was thinking is that in non-academic, we could come up with another theme that would just be specifically designed so that when media does approach you, you know how to handle it. You don't suddenly get all shy, you don't know what to say. Like, it might not be, this is the question they're asking, this is how you respond, but it could be more on how to understand, how to answer questions on the fly.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, getting yourself prepared for public speaking or whatever.
Yeah.
The whole theme of this class or your group there, might then make them more comfortable if they've had some experience doing that with, I mean, it could work out. Who would conduct these sessions? Would you guys be doing these sessions?
Well, it would be part of non-academic, so
Right,
yeah.
Right, yeah. Oh, I could have
And
some.
hopefully later on maybe branch out to schools, and schools could start doing it themselves too to prepare their own athletes for
And with
the
that,
cameras.
we can also prepare them to answer questions like right on the fly. So like if somebody asks you this, that, you can answer immediately, and that way you don't have to be all shy in that.
Right.
And then you can get comfortable with getting interviews too.
Yeah, probably just getting comfortable with being interviewed would probably be
Yeah.
a positive thing for a lot of people.
Anything to add? Any thoughts on it?
I'm just thinking you could just practice interviews all the time. I mean,
Oh,
if you join mock trial, if you join any of the other debate teams at the school, you would practice debating, you would practice this. So if you just had someone come in and interview you, just as you do if you're going for a job, you would normally, I know I coached my son-in-law for his interview when he went for a position, because I was a manager at that time, so I knew what kind of questions the manager was going to ask. And we had a little fake interview on the telephone. It's all you really need is just someone to ask you questions that they think are likely to happen when you out in your situation.
I did not think of that. It's a good solution.
Anyway, I have one last question for the both of you. So, what advice would you give to future athletes or athletes right now about their sport? Like, what advice do you have for them?
I say one of the most important things is to stay healthy. Because if your body's not healthy, you can't play well. So it's eating right, getting your sleep, exercising. That's my philosophy.
Yeah.
And pick something you're going to have a good time with.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
If you eat like junk food all the time,
Right.
you're probably gonna be like this.
Right, you're going to be slow and
You won't feel good. You're probably
Right.
gonna get sick.
And you should do something you want that you have fun at. Why spend all that time if you're not having fun?
That's true.
Yeah.
One thing I'm most associated with tennis, and to me, the thing for the players is they have to get out and just play and just have a good time and enjoy the sport. A lot of them seem to take a lot of lessons, but then they never really get out and play. And I think, that's one of the most important things. You take the difference between Susan Arp and some of the other players on the team is that Susan Arp plays. Her family goes out, the family plays together, she plays with other people, and she just enjoys being out on the court and playing. And I think that's, a really important thing. Like when I was growing up, I used to go for lessons at a tennis club in Allentown.
Oh.
But I used to take my lunch with me, and then after lunch, a couple of the other guys, we'd all go out and play after lunch, and that's how I developed my game. I think you keep the thing with when you take lessons, a lot of things are sort of structured, and when you get out on the court, as well as I do, things don't go exactly the way you planned them, and
They
you
really don't.
and you have to be able to react and be able to figure out what to do next,
Yeah.
And I think you only do that when you get out and play and you meet all these different situations, and you sort of figure out how to get past these situations and how to be successful. So I think at least for tennis, and I'm sure it's true for every other sport.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, my son loved basketball, but he was out on the court every day. He played basketball every day. He loved it, and he was fairly successful. He never quite made the team, but he played a lot of recreational basketball and had a great time. And that was sort of the way it was for me too. I didn't make my high school basketball team either, but I had a great time playing. I played on 2, like city league teams and stuff like that. And we just had, a lot of fun playing with my friends, and that's what it's all about, right? When it comes down to it, really. And so I think people just have to get out and play,
Yeah,
enjoy their sport.
Even if you lose, at least you got to play.
Well, I think that was a big part of why you were so successful this year, was because you put yourself out there. Somebody said, "Oh, we need a fourth." "Oh, hey, you raised your hand," and that's what you have to do, And if anybody gives you an invitation to play, you're out in the court and you're playing with a lot of people and different, and that's what you have to do.
See, us two, we're in love with tennis.
Yeah.
We love it.
No, that's what it's all about, really.
If like in Scranton Tennis Club, they're like, we need a partner. My sister would be like, I'll be your partner.
Well, she was. I used to call her Monday mornings or whatever. I need a fourth for Monday morning.
I was there. I
and
loved
you were
it.
there, yeah.
I loved tennis. Yeah.
And you put yourself Tuesday night or whatever it was. Oh, they need a fourth. Oh, you were out there.
Oh, I bet
You
she'd
were
even
playing.
put herself in a weekday.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what's important.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach Weiss
you.
and Mrs. Weiss. And there you have it, folks. And make sure you tune in for the next video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!